Assalamu alaikum. This is chapter 2 of learning Node.js quickly. In this chapter, we're going to dive into Node.js. First, you need to download Node.js from their official website, and here you can choose your own operating system and make sure these two options are selected, NVM and NPM. After you've downloaded it, you should be able to do this and this. This means that the node has been installed in your system. What Node really is, Node is a JavaScript runtime environment that allows to run JavaScript on your system instead of just on the browser. So that's why it's used to build servers, and it can also build desktop applications. Now to get started, we should make a directory. Let's name it node. Go into that directory and run npm init-y. This creates a package.json. Let's open up our code editor. Let's open up a terminal and let's create a file called index.js and another file called another. In index.js we can write a function and we will call this function. To run this script, we will write node index.js and it prints inside index. Pretty great, right? Now let's write another function in this other file. Let's call it another, and we will print in another. Let's call this as well, and node another in another. That's great, but if I have to run all these scripts separately, it doesn't make any sense, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to export this module in this module. Now what a module is like a script that becomes an object and can be used in another script. But first, to do that, we have to make some tweaks to package.json. We will write a start script and we tell it to run index.js file every time when I run this start script. Now I go to another and I have to export this module like this. Now I have exported another function and I will import that function here. Give it a relative path, and if I call another now, no, not this. To run our script now, we have to write npm run start, and it prints inside an index first and then in another. First this, then this. The npm we used here means node package manager. A package is like a library, and we install libraries in Node using npm. Now I'm going to show you what object destructuring is. It's a vital concept in JavaScript. Now what if I had another function, let's just name it and I need to import that as well. So what I will do is I will create an object and I will export that object, and I will put my both functions in there. Now here I can do either this another dot another, which is a function, inside index, inside another, inside a, or there's a cleaner method to do this, and that is called object destructuring. That means to extract keys out of an object, and we do it like this: another and a, and now we call them simply like this. And there you go, inside index, inside another, and inside a. So this is what object destructuring is. It's quite useful concept, makes code way clean. Now there's another concept without which you cannot build anything in Node. It's called a promise. A promise is something that does not execute immediately, but promises to resolve or reject in time. So let me just show you. If we create a function, let's just say f, which takes an argument something, and it returns a promise. A promise takes a callback, and that callback is passed with two arguments, resolve and reject, whether to reject or resolve the promise. And we can say if d is less than 10, then resolve it with yay. This means that if d is less than 10, it will return this value, this, or else reject it with another value, let's just say nay. Now there are two ways you execute a promise, either by awaiting it or by executing it in chain. Let me show you the first one. If I say f dot, then it's a function, I have to pass it a value. Let's pass it 9, 10, and dot then means if the promise resolves, then it must return this data. Let's just say data, and it is a callback, so we put an arrow function here, and we can console.log it. Now let's see what happens. So the promise has resolved with yay, but what if I give it a greater number? Now this will reject. You see there's an error. It says trigger uncaught exception, and it has rejected with nay. But there's a problem. This has actually crashed our application. What we need to do is catch this exception, and how we catch it is we chain with it a catch, which gets an error, and we show that error, or do whatever we want with it. Now instead of crashing the application, it will just print it nay. Now what happens if I do this? Let's see. It first printed this, and then the promise was rejected or resolved, or actually executed. Now why did this happen? I wrote this console after the promise. Well, this is what promise does. As I told you, it promises to resolve or reject, but not immediately, but after some time. This is useful when you are going to make some computation or make some network calls and do not want to block the main thread. Then we use promises. There is another way that you can resolve a promise, and that is, it is called async and await. We create an async function, something like something, and then we can await the promise. Now await will return a value, and this is a familiar expression, right? This is how we do assignments to variables, and this is what await and async await is used for. If you do not want to use the chain method, you can do this method. This will wait until the promise resolves or rejects, and we call it like this, something, and let's just console the value so that we know, and let's write npm start, and there we have it. Yay. Great, right? But what happens if it rejects now? Oh, again the application crashes because we did not handle the rejection. But how do we handle the rejection in this expression form? We have to wrap it in a try block. And how do we do that? We do it like this. We write try, we put it inside this, and then we write catch, which catches the error again, and we will console that error. Now if it rejects it, it prints nay. Pretty cool, right? Well, this is all you need to know today about Node.js. We have covered promises, async await, and we've covered what a module is and what Node really does. See you in the next chapter. Adios.